Welcome to another Foolish Thoughts episode. This is Joseph Barone, aka A Fool for Learning, and our foolish thought for today is Older Worker Myths, Part 1. When I left my last major organization, I decided to open up my own consulting service. Now, it was difficult and not as successful as I had hoped for, and I knew this might be the case going into it, so I was prepared for it. But during those years, I would periodically decide to look for either part time or full time work, generally with a medium sized organization. I would go on interviews, usually via Zoom or some other collaboration tool, and sometimes even in person. But the moment that I connected or walked in the door, you could tell that they were not interested in an older worker, aka someone over the age of 55, even though I always met and in many cases exceeded the qualifications. So, in a recent sidebar in TD Magazine from June of 2025 entitled Debunking Myths with Data, it lists four widespread myths regarding older workers. And in this episode, I will take a look at the first two of the four myths. First myth: older workers are less productive and reliable. And according to the National Bureau of Economic Research study, 58% of the cases, older workers demonstrated a higher productivity. Now, why did they do that? Because they have more experience in problem solving and maintain consistent performance than younger workers. And I would tend to agree with this. I've seen this in many cases. For example, when I was working a few years ago for one of the local boards of elections, not once did I show up late to work. And I drove approximately 1 hour, over 50 miles, to get to the location. My colleague, a worker half my age and had a much shorter commute, would not only show up late on a regular basis, but dressed inappropriately and would come in, well, let us say, feeling a little happy, high after the lunch dinner break. Eventually, he would be transferred to another assignment. The second myth: older workers lack motivation and ambition. Now, according to a study in the Journal of Occupational Health, engagement increases as one gets older due to better control over one's emotions and job satisfaction. Going back to the example of when I worked for one of the local boards of election, I really tried to do what I could to help their training program improve in both quality of the materials and the overall workshops. I was motivated to really help them become better. I would make regular suggestions to help them improve the training process, such as how to write multiple choice questions on their tests or creating posters to produce a visual representation of the various pieces of equipment. I didn't have to do any of that, as I was simply paid to conduct training workshops as they had requested them. And I spoke about this in a previous podcast episode. Now, again, let me say this right up front here at this point. There are exceptions to all of these, whether one is a younger worker or an older worker. You will find great younger workers, you will find great older workers, and you will find terrible younger workers and terrible older workers. So, thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to listen to this episode. And if you learned something, please take a moment to like, comment, subscribe, or even share with a friend. This is Joseph Barone, aka A Fool for Learning, signing out. Remember, learn, perform, succeed.